Okay, so now guys, we are starting with the loops. Okay, so we will start with the for loop, and afterwards we will start do loops. Okay, conditional loops. Now, so today's topic actually is for loops. Okay, there's so much in the loops, and then we will have if statements also executes inside the loops, right? So how this happens when you have to run the if conditions inside the loop, we will discuss all. So this is as you can see chapter number 5, loop 1.0. Okay, now first of all I want to clear that why you actually use the loop in any programming language, right? Loop is always a backbone of that language. You will not find even a single language which does not have the loops because it is so powerful, right? Now, for example, if I ask you to print 1 to 10 number, for example, how you're going to do it? You may say that, okay, so we are going to print the numbers like this, isn't it? And then so on. But how long you will keep copying and pasting these values, isn't it? So what if I have to, let's say, print 1000 numbers? This is not the right approach, isn't it? This is not the right approach. I can run this, we can run this and we will find all the values like 1, 2, 3, but this is not how we should go and do this type of a task. You see, the thing is that loop means that you have to repeat the instructions again and again, the set of instructions, the line of codes again and again, maybe 100 times, maybe 1000 times, or maybe 80,000 times, million times, I don't know, right? So loop, what it does, you put the code inside the loop and loop makes sure that as per the condition which you are going to give inside the loop, till the time that condition is satisfied, it keeps on running that code. Every time the code runs, it takes a different input. Okay, now let me quickly start with this thing. Okay, so let's say we want to print the numbers. Okay, I want to print the numbers like 1 to 3 or 1 to 10, for example. So we're gonna write here print numbers 1 to, let's say, 5, for example. Okay, with the loop. So this is how you are going to write for x. Okay, for x in range, and then I'm going to use the 6. Okay, and then you use the colon and press enter, and you see indentation is already there. In the loops also we have to take care of the indentation. So what happens if I run this line? See this, guys, this is your for loop. You're telling that for x variable in range 6 you have to print x. What do you mean by this? Basically, when you run the loop, you have to set a variable which will take the value. Maybe that value comes from the outside. Right now, there's no other variable which x is going to, use. I can write here maybe x as 3, and then maybe we can use this value inside the loop. But right now, how the x is going to run, you see this range 6 function, what it does actually, it means that by default, your loop will go up to 6, It is not going to include 6. So that means this loop actually is going to run 5 times. This loop is going to run 5 times. And in the range function, you cannot use any text. It is always a number, right? So if I'm going to run this, you see that what is going to happen? Automatically, your sequence will be created, and you see that you will start getting here the numbers. So the number actually starts with 0. Look at this, guys. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up to 6. 6 is not going to be included. Am I clear on this part? Right? So this is also called a sequence loop. I can say that this is actually a sequential loop. Okay? Sequential loop. Why? Because it always works on a sequence basis. Automatically, when this loop runs, it keeps on incrementing the value of x till the time it does not reach 5 automatically. And it always by default starts with 0. Makes sense, right? So when it starts, because you said range 6, so by default x, the first value which x is going to print, that actually will start from 0. Now the question is that, can I change this to, let's say I don't want to start with 0? Yes, you can do that. By default, this is, the 0, but you can write here 1 and then comma. This means the first value, now you have decided that you will go with 1. You can write here whatever, 2, 3, 4, whatever. But make sure it should not be a value which is greater than 6. Otherwise, the loop will not work. So now if I run this code, you see that our initial value is 1 now, right? It does not make any sense if I say that I want to run this from 10 to 6, right? You got the point? See that nothing will happen. Now, why? Because the moment the loop comes here, X finds that, okay, I have to go up to 6, but I'm already given a value called 10. So immediately loop will exit. It is not going to execute this area. This area is going to be executed only when the condition satisfies. Now, what's the condition in this? Well, the condition is pretty simple that you have to go up to 6. Okay, so you can change this to, yes, you can change this to -3 also, for example, not a problem. So now the first value which we will have, that basically is going to be -3. You can see here, -3, -2, -1, and so on. Okay, so you can set, I mean, here the values as per your requirement. Simple, right? Now, the question is that, so when you're printing these values, for example, let's say, let me change this value to 10. Now, guys, I say that, okay, so I want to start from 1, but I want to actually jump by 2 numbers. I want to skip 2 numbers. Then what are you going to do? Well, then there's a third parameter, which is an optional parameter, which is basically to how many values you want to jump skip. So I say 2, for example. Then what will happen? The first number will be 1 up to 10. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But during this calculation from 1 to 9, it will skip 2 values. It will skip by 2 values, 2 jumps basically. By default, it's always 1. So whenever I have to print the numbers without any gap, I don't write this number. Though you can write just for your own, understanding if you want to write. But this is by default, so we never write it actually. Okay, but yes, if I want to jump by 2, then yes, I have to write. So the moment I run this, you see that I have here 1, and then the next value is 3, and then 5, and then 7, and then 9. Right? You can jump as many numbers as you want, but remember, the code will never actually execute the moment X reaches 9. The moment X becomes 9, that is the last time you will find this statement executed. Right? So in this, we have seen, so basically what we are trying to say. We are trying to say that the first value is the initial value, start value, in other words, and then up to what value. Okay, it means excluding that value, and then there is a gap, right? There is a gap. Okay, you can say gap, jump, I don't know, I mean, how do you want to understand this, I mean, which term you want to use, right? Or you can say increments by what number. So these are the 3 parameters, right? So if you have seen that in this exercise, in this loop actually, sorry, uh, there is only one thing generally we need, which is just to tell the number, just to tell the loop actually, that you have to go up till which level. Initial value and the increment value, right? They are the optionals. So that depends, if your project demands, you can use it. Otherwise, you don't have to use it. Okay, this is how we go and use the for loop. So the loop has been given the instructions, and this is how the loop will start running. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Make sense, right? Now, not only this, we can further go and use the, so see, this is a very basic loop. I can also go and use some variables also here. I can use some variables also here, right? How I'm going to use the variable, for example, let me change this to comments. So let's say we say that here we have a value called a as 10. Okay, a as 10. Now I say that for x in range, I can write here a also. You see that? I can write here a also, and then I say print x like this. Now what will happen in this case? Well, we will see the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can always use the variables also in this range command. This is beautiful, right? See this. You have the values here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Correct or not? Okay, so that's how we can use this. And I mean, this a we can use anywhere. For example, I can say that, okay, a is 10, and then let's say I want to say that increment. For increment, I use inc variable, let's say, and I say 2, right? So obviously, I can go and use the inc as well. And for the initial value also we can use something, or maybe you can use the constant answer. It's up to you. For example, I say 3. It depends, right? So we can have a lot of creativity, a lot of flexibility in the loops. So when I run this, you see that I got here the 3 value, and then after 3 there is an increment of 2, so 4 is missing, and so on. Okay, so that's how we go and use the for loop, guys. I hope this is clear. Very simple, isn't it? Right? Now the last part of this loop is that now you see, as I said that in the range command we use the numbers. Now what happens if you have to run the loop maybe for some text value, right? Can we do that? Yes, we can do that. So for example, let me just comment this. See this now. Suppose I want to say that for x in hello, for example, hello, and the print x. Now what is going to happen in this? See, I'm not using the range command, guys, because hello cannot be a part of range. It's a text. Now Python is designed in a way that when you write like this, so what happens, it works on this string step by step, because this is a for loop. This is a for loop, right? So every time when this loop runs, what the Python is going to do, it is going to pick one alphabet one by one. You see that? And this is very powerful when we will go and work with the the data, the real data. We will use all these different loops. Okay, in this is how it is. Now what happens if I try to say that I want to skip a text from H to L and then L to O? Well, this is a text string. This is a text string, so this is, we can't use the range command over here. Okay, so this is going to work in this way. All right, so this is all about the for loop. Now let's go ahead and talk some more things on the loops, and let's try to see where I can fit actually the if statements here.